December 28, 2025, a day that brought Europe dangerously close to a direct confrontation between NATO and Russia. In the early morning hours, Poland, a NATO member state, scrambled fighter jets and activated its air defense systems. The reason? Russia had just launched one of its largest aerial assaults on Ukraine since the war began, nearly 500 drones and more than 40 missiles targeting Ukrainian cities. This wasn't just another attack. This was a massive escalation that forced a NATO ally to take defensive action, raising critical questions about how close we are to a broader European conflict. Today, we're breaking down what happened, why it matters, and what could come next. Let's start with the scale of this assault. According to multiple confirmed reports, Russia launched approximately 500 drones and over 40 missiles at Ukrainian cities and infrastructure. The targets included civilian areas in Kyiv, Ukraine's capital, as well as critical energy infrastructure across the country. The timing couldn't be worse. Ukraine is in the grip of winter, with temperatures well below freezing. These strikes weren't just military operations. They were designed to maximize civilian suffering by cutting off heat and electricity when people need it most. The human cost was immediate. At least 2 people were killed, with dozens more injured. Across Kyiv, power outages left hundreds of thousands without heating in sub-zero conditions. Hospitals struggled to maintain emergency services. Water systems were compromised. This is what modern warfare looks like. Attacks designed not just to destroy military targets, but to break the will of an entire civilian population through systematic deprivation. Now, here's where things get critical for NATO. As Russian drones and missiles filled Ukrainian airspace, Poland, which shares a 330-mile border with Ukraine, immediately activated its air defense systems. Fighter jets were scrambled, radar systems went to maximum alert, ground-based air defense batteries were positioned along the border. Poland's operational command confirmed the deployment, stating they were taking, quote, all necessary actions to ensure the safety of Polish airspace. But Poland wasn't alone. This was a coordinated NATO response. The United States, Spain, and the Netherlands all provided support, whether through intelligence sharing, air defense coordination, or direct military assets. This is Article 5 territory we're talking about. If even one Russian missile or drone crosses into Polish airspace, intentionally or by accident, we're in unprecedented territory. An attack on one NATO member is considered an attack on all 32 member states. Poland's response shows just how seriously NATO is taking this threat. This wasn't a drill, this was the real deal. Beyond the military implications, there's a humanitarian catastrophe unfolding in real time. Imagine this, you're in Kyiv, it's December, temperatures are below freezing, and suddenly your heat shuts off, your electricity goes dark, your water stops running. This is the reality for hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians right now. The elderly are particularly vulnerable. Hypothermia can set in within hours. Hospitals are running on backup generators, trying to keep critical patients alive. Parents are bundling their children in every piece of clothing they can own, burning furniture to stay warm. The World Health Organization has warned that winter conditions combined with infrastructure attacks create a deadly combination. We're not just talking about military casualties, we're talking about civilians dying from exposure, from lack of medical care, from conditions that are entirely preventable. International aid organizations are scrambling to provide generators, blankets, and emergency heating systems. But the scale of the need is overwhelming. Every time infrastructure is repaired, another attack destroys it again. This is why the international community is calling these attacks potential war crimes. Deliberately targeting civilian infrastructure in winter conditions crosses lines that even warfare is supposed to respect. But there may be a glimmer of hope on the diplomatic front. Ukrainian President Zelensky is heading to Florida for face-to-face talks with Donald Trump. The goal? To finalize a comprehensive 20-point peace plan that could finally end this brutal conflict. Here's what's reportedly on the table. First, security guarantees. Ukraine wants ironclad commitments from the United States and European allies that they'll help defend Ukraine's sovereignty. We're talking about something potentially similar to NATO's Article 5, but tailored specifically for Ukraine. Second, reconstruction support. Ukraine's infrastructure has been devastated. Rebuilding will cost hundreds of billions of dollars. The peace plan includes commitments for long-term economic support. And third, and this is the most contentious issue, territorial questions. Russia currently occupies roughly 18% of Ukrainian territory. Will Ukraine have to accept any territorial losses? Will there be a ceasefire along current lines? These are the make-or-break questions. Trump has suggested he could end the war quickly, but critics worry about what concessions Ukraine might be pressured to make. Zelensky has made it clear, any peace deal must respect Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. The talks in Florida could determine whether this war continues for years or whether 2025 becomes the year peace finally arrives. So what does all of this mean for European security and the broader world order? First, NATO unity is being tested like never before. Every time Russia launches attacks near NATO borders, the alliance has to decide, do we respond? How far do we go? What constitutes a red line? Poland's response shows that NATO members are taking the threat seriously, but it also highlights the dangerous tightrope they're walking. Second, the humanitarian crisis is creating ripple effects across Europe. Energy prices are already rising. Refugee flows continue. Countries are having to balance domestic needs with supporting Ukraine. Third, this conflict is reshaping global geopolitics. How the United States responds under Trump's administration will signal America's commitment to European security. How Europe responds will determine whether it can be an independent security actor or remains dependent on American power. And fourth, the precedent being set here matters far beyond Ukraine. If Russia can successfully use force to change borders in Europe, what message does that send to other would-be aggressors? China is watching how the West responds to Ukraine. North Korea is watching. Iran is watching. The outcome of this conflict will shape international relations for decades to come. As we close out 2025, the situation in Ukraine remains one of the most critical security challenges facing the world. Poland's response to this latest Russian assault shows we're at a pivotal moment. Will the Zelensky-Trump talks produce a breakthrough? Will NATO be drawn further into the conflict? Will Ukraine's infrastructure survive another winter of attacks? These questions don't have easy answers, but one thing is clear: what happens in Ukraine doesn't stay in Ukraine. This conflict affects global security, energy markets, food supplies, and the fundamental question of whether international law still matters in the 21st century. We'll continue following this story as it develops. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you don't miss any updates. What do you think? Should NATO do more to protect Ukraine? Should there be red lines for Russian attacks? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, stay informed, and I'll see you in the next one.